We'll see if he can have another crack, another shot at Haas in the later stages of the tournament. But here we are, we're in our first game of our first series.
Yes, that's right. And here we have, in the top left-hand corner of the map, he is the Taiwanese Terran in the blue, playing for Mystery Gaming. This is NaXin.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Moondance, we have the Taiwanese Terran player, also representing Mystery Gaming. It is Lemon.
Alright, here we go, Light. You can sit back, you can relax, let me take care of the TBT. You can just look at the man with gun and how crazy it is that, you know, the broken race against the broken race, there's going to be a loser. It's incredible.
This is the only time the Terran can lose, okay? This is...
True.
I have to enjoy it while I can.
I feel like if I squint really hard, maybe the blue Terran units might look like Zerglings.
I mean, look. I always bring this up. There's beauty in TVT. I know this. You know this. There's the good and the bad, right? And I hope we get some of the good, because I don't know about you, but I feel like some of these vetoes were pretty interesting here. I was surprised to see, I mean, maybe I shouldn't be surprised to see Moondance first. Like, it does kind of favor Terran a little bit, so you don't see it as much in some of the other matchups. But, yeah, I wasn't expecting Moondance's game 1, and we're going to see Waterfall later on in game 2.
Yeah, Moondance and Waterfall can both be pretty interesting maps in TVT for similar reasons, where your opening 2-base stage can be very dynamic, and it does lead, if both players survive quite well into the later stages, it does lead to a very drawn-out macro game as well, once they're up into their 3 and 4 bases, as you can actually defend these maps really quite easily once you get to those later phases.
Yeah, exactly. Especially Moondance. You know, we have the ramps, we have the choke points, we have the pocket bases as well. But for the time being, both players did go for double gas openings here before their natural bases. They both are looking to expand, so they're not staying on one base for too long. So, in a way, as far as I can tell, both players are mirroring each other.
Yeah, fairly mirrored here. NaXin's base just very slightly earlier by cutting out that extra scout. At the same time, we do see both players going for a reactor opening, so both of them looking to be a little bit more aggressive at the start of this game, which will, of course, cancel each other out here.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be all about who's the aggressor and who's the defender, right? As we do have a couple positions here that can be taken, especially on these ramps, where certain players can shoot first, or both players may just stay at home. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's right. So we see the starports going down for both players, and they have a few options here. What we normally see off this will be 5 Reapers and 3 Hellions for both players, possibly a medevac if they want to be a little bit more aggressive, but it does look like NaXin's going to take the defensive role this time.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, to be fair, Lemon is working with a little bit better information. Lemon was able to scout the opener. NaXin hasn't. NaXin didn't send anything across the map at all, so Lemon is waiting on top of the ramp, but NaXin is well aware of that. He goes around instead.
Yeah, that's right. It's just going to pop in with these Reapers here, get a little bit of scouting, maybe get some damage on these on this supply depot. Just trying to bait out the units of Lemon to try to get an idea of what he's up against here. Very nice micro there, bouncing the Hellion in to take the shot away from there.
Oh yeah, exactly. 1 Hellion for Lemon already going down with the reinforcements. It looks like this force has to be forced all the way back. But so far, a nice trade here from our blue Terran player. Is able to escape, not losing any of his Reapers.
Yeah, very nicely done by NaXin there. Does get eyes on the units of Lemon as well, and seeing that extra Hellion, he'll know what he's up against, and because he took out that first Hellion, that takes a lot of the sting out of this build. Meanwhile, we do see a Banshee being produced by him, so that will put a timer on these Reaper Hellion force.
Yeah, exactly. We don't see these Banshee openers too often, but you love to see it here from NaXin, especially because they can be used quite well defensively. Meanwhile, here we go with a bit of a lift off the Hellions. They get into the main.
Yeah, very nicely done there with the medevac, but NaXin there does a very good job targeting down the medevac with the Cyclone and actually takes out the medevac.
Wow, the lock-on was absolutely insane. Because that these units are stranded here in the main base and they are all gonna go down. As I say that, it looks like the Hellion is actually gonna somehow make it out, and actually gonna be able to pick up a couple of these workers.
That's right, there are a couple units getting out, but that was a massacre for NaXin, taking out almost every single unit of Lemon, only losing 4 SCVs. That's fantastic for him here, and he does have the potential, if he would like to push across the map now, because he will be significantly ahead in tech units.
Oh, definitely. The other thing, I don't know if the Banshee was scattered as it was popping out in the main base either, so I don't know if Lemon is aware that he has to be prepared for that sort of defense. He's splitting up his army here, just making sure he has a couple of units here in the main base just in case, but NaXin is moving out here with his tank.
Yeah, that's right. This tank is going to be able to get a position here, and it's going to be very difficult for Lemon to respond because he's just a little bit out of position here. Forced to throw down a turret, and he's forced to pull SCVs as well, and so many going down right away.
Oh yeah, the Raven does go down. The Banshee was locked on by that Cyclone, so NaXin is going to be forced back a little bit here, especially with this defensive tank, but already a nice amount of damage being done. Already 9 SCVs falling.
Yeah, already with a nice lead on the tank count, taking out 9 of those SCVs, taking out a mule as well, just forcing Lemon to be the defender here as well, making him so uncomfortable. And it just means that back home, NaXin has plenty of room to start macroing into a later game as well as he contains Lemon on this base.
Yeah, and you can see already the power of that contain. Ooh, Lemon does shoot first, so a little bit mispositioned there by NaXin, is gonna lose one of his tanks, but regardless, he's still containing his opponent. Lemon does have a faster third, but it's the pocket base. It's half a base, whereas NaXin can expand at a full base saturation here at his triangular third.
Yeah, that's right. So it's going to be important as well for NaXin here not to overextend. He does want to preserve that tank lead that he has. Looks like that has been narrowed quite a bit actually already by the trades that he's been taken. And Lemon senses a bit of weakness in that regard and is going to push out now.
Oh yeah, exactly. It looks like the pathing of that Marine does lead him towards the main army. Auto turret is thrown down here. NaXin is the first to siege, and he will be able to get one of the tanks, but he just doesn't have enough buffer to protect his tanks.
Yeah, unfortunately, 2 tanks going down for 1. They're not very good trades at all for NaXin, and Lemon's managed to find his way back into this game.
Yeah, exactly. Just out-trading his opponent. Even here with the Vikings, he's going to be able to chase down these Ravens if NaXin isn't too careful. He has to bob and weave his way through. Marines can help zone out, but yeah, every Marine is going to get picked up.
Yeah, every Marine going down, every tank going down, and what was a very nice lead of tanks for NaXin. Now he's behind 2 tanks, and this means that Lemon, sensing that he's a little bit ahead in that regard and needing to buy himself some space back at home to start thinking about a 4th base, is going to push out himself here.
Oh yeah, exactly. There's only 1 tank to defend. Does siege up in time here to help cover this ramp, so it's not going to be too easy for Lemon to really force his way up. Is going to rotate around instead, and right now NaXin is buying valuable time here to rebuild his tank count. But even though he rebuilds the tanks, we're the Marines. You know, what can we see to protect them?
Yeah, that's right. There is a little bit of danger here. Fortunately for him, it does look like Lemon lost both of his Ravens, so that's a lot of the utility that he would have needed to push forward. And this is a very nice fight here for NaXin, taking out a lot of the tanks.
Oh my god, he gets 2 tanks for nothing, essentially, just for an order. The 3rd tank goes down! Oh my god, the defender's advantage, the positioning was just too good.
Yeah, this is a very weird property you sometimes see with 2 tanks sieged up, where one of the tanks, the hitbox gets a bit bigger when it unsieges. So it was actually out of range until it unsieged.
Oh, wow. So just like that, NaXin, he somehow takes a tank lead again.
Yeah, just like that, kind of, both players showing that they're possibly a little bit stronger in defending than attacking. Maybe some nerves of the gravity of this game, making them attack a little bit recklessly and kind of just throwing the game back and forth this way. They've found themselves in a pretty even mid-game all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. After an intense period here, both players bounced off each other, and now we see that I feel like NaXin is going to be have a bit of a better end of things. He was able to keep his Ravens alive. He has 2 gases that are going to be mining here at the 3rd base. I feel like the pressure is going to be more on Lemon to catch up, to try and get his 4th up sooner rather than later.
Yeah, for sure. That is true. NaXin does have the utility of those Vikings and the Ravens. He does have a little bit more map control as well with this front base, with the tank set up out the front here. This is a kind of setup that is gonna, Lemon's gonna have to get this kind of setup eventually anyway. So it's nice that NaXin has the front set up already and can start working his way backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Lemon has to try and force his way forwards instead. There we go. The 4th CC is going to be landing here on location. We see a scan. NaXin does have eyes on it. Now he's fully aware about the economic situation of Lemon, and he's got an option here to try and punish this 4th.
Yeah, it does look like he recognizes it as a little ahead on the tanks. Nice little counter scan there by Lemon. Will recognize that NaXin is looking to move out here. So I think it would be in NaXin's best interests not to be too committal with this push.
Exactly. I love the movement as well. NaXin moving towards the right-hand side after he got scattered. Lemon looking to meet him here as well. Does have quite a strong bio army. Does actually have a lead in the Marine counts.
Yeah, that's right. A nice little map control force here, but he does have that one medevac taken out right away. He's going to jump on top of this tank left undefended here and move away after that.
Yeah, exactly. He knows that this army is going to be a lost cause, so he sends a couple here into that mineral line. Every single Marine goes down with only getting a single SCV, if that. But at least this does keep NaXin back at home, and Lemon is able to get his fourth.
Yeah, that's right. He is getting this fourth up and established. And meanwhile, on the side of NaXin, I'm not sure if he has a fourth on the way at all.
Yeah, he actually doesn't. It's quite interesting. I mean, to be fair, he did have a pretty powerful third, but I think we saw this yesterday, didn't we? I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say
against Rex.
Yeah, in the TVZ, he found himself in a fairly good position on the third base, and yeah, maybe once again a little bit of those tournament nerves and jitters, trying to just force the fact a little bit, not wanting to go to too much of a later game. Hasn't really thrown down that fourth yet. We do see it finally going down now, but that does mean that it is a little bit behind the development of Lemon here.
Definitely. Timing-wise, it was a massive opportunity for him to get his own fourth base, especially upon scanning and confirming the timing of his opponent's fourth, but he opted not to go for it. He wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, and he's being punished a little bit for his choices.
Yeah, I do think this is a map that favors playing a bit of a late game. You can see here the ease that Lemon has in his defensive rotations, but it does look like there's a small window here for NaXin to try to get in on this base.
Yeah, here we go. He will lose one tank immediately, but here come the auto charge. Here comes the anti-armor missile as well, forcing Lemon back.
Yeah, nice little position that NaXin's got here on this PF. We'll be able to start shelling away at that. It does look like they're just going to trade out Vikings evenly, though.
Yeah, the Vikings are traded out evenly. It looks like, again, Lemon's tank positioning is a little bit too great here, catching some of those reinforcements. We're down to one Viking versus one Viking. Lemon shooting first.
Yeah, with that anti-armor missile wearing off, Lemon just going to win out on that one, and he will be able to keep the repairs up with only a couple of the tanks of NaXin in range of this PF. So, nice little counterattack here with the double medevac.
Yeah, the double jump across the map. 10 SCVs are going down, forces the lift up on the third base. And the dangerous thing here is that the fourth is still not fully operational. It's still not fully up and running, and the third is actually going to go down.
Oh, that's a huge pick-off taking down that base. He's managed to use a lot less than NaXin has committed to be able to get a lot more damage than NaXin was able to get. And now NaXin, feeling the pressure to get some damage done, is going to make an aggressive rotation into the main.
Yeah, he's going to go for a massive dune drop into the main base. What do we have waiting for him? We have a turret line. Oh my god! We have one medevac almost going down. It looks like a full medevac full of Marines does end up falling, but he does unload all the tanks.
Yeah, quite fortunate not to lose that very low health medevac that had the two tanks in it, but that does mean that he gets quite a nice position here on the production of Lemon. And meanwhile, Lemon does have these Liberators in a pretty annoying position here, but the Vikings are going to be able to take that out.
Yeah, the Vikings do take all that out. The tanks are going to rotate over into the main base. We have a Doom Drop here. There's no anti-air.
Yeah, great reactions there. Recognizes that there's no Marines left and is going to jump straight on top of these tanks, already taking down 2-3 of these tanks. Only 3 tanks remaining for Lemon, and he has to break his position.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, there are no Marines remaining here for NaXin. He only has 2 Vikings to try and stem the tide here and stop Lemon from collapsing on this position. So eventually this will be cleaned up, but this was very necessary damage. Disrupting the production, taking down 15 SCVs.
Yeah, and having a look at the structures now for Lemon, he did lose so many barracks here. He's down to 2 barracks now, so it's going to be very hard for him to replenish that Marine count, and that should give NaXin a lot of room here to get map control once again.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, we do see his reinforcements are now headed towards the fresh base of Lemon. He is attempting to get a 5th base up and running. Already a planetary, already has a sensor tower. His army is rotating over to meet him, but he's going to be a little bit late, so NaXin can siege up.
Yeah, NaXin going to get set up here as well. If he can jump on this army with some of his Marines as it comes in, there's a lot of very bruised Marines here that would go down quite quickly.
There really are already another couple of tank volleys going off. Lemon losing one of his tanks on the front line. Oh, do you see a bit of a trade here when it comes to the Vikings? But I don't think NaXin can really force the issue here. There's just too much to defend.
Yeah, nice focus fire by NaXin there against the Vikings. Takes a pretty good trade considering the situation. It does look like he is going to be looking for that Doom Drop play once again, and I really like this. Seeing as there's no sensor tower here to catch this movement, he's created enough chaos to open up the opportunity for moves like this.
Yeah, exactly. We see a scan in the middle of the map. Lemon recognizing that the army is missing, does catch the tail end of that drop. Is going to try and rotate over to meet him. Vikings also positioning here outside his main base. Is he going to get here in time?
Yeah, with all those turrets gone from the last drop as well, this is so much of a stronger attack here that NaXin has. Unfortunately, one of those tanks going down in the medevac will take out a little bit of the staying power here, but he's getting right on top of this factory. Already one of the factories going down and the other barracks in danger.
Oh, the factory does go down, but now NaXin has to get the hell out of here. Is being stimmed upon. The tank is going to fall. Does pick up, and it looks like he will be able to escape with a decent amount of those Marines.
Yeah, that's right. So nice moves here by NaXin, just trying to pull Lemon this way and that, get him out of position. It does look like, once again, pretty lightly defended here on this fourth base.
Yeah, exactly. This tower goes down, so it's going to be even harder to keep up with the rotations of NaXin. Once again, Lemon does have a bit of a lead when it comes to the Vikings, so NaXin has to respect that. He has to back off. The pressure has been on him for quite some time to try and even things up, and now he does have 4 bases up and running. He's evened things up when it comes to the worker count. Still down a base, though.
Yeah, that's right. Once again, we're seeing this as a little bit of a trend with NaXin. He can be a little bit slow to take his extra bases. I would really like to see him throwing down some extra CCs now that he has his map control.
Yeah, I would love to see it as well, right? Like, Lemon hasn't really been able to push out across the map at all this game. Like, maybe there was the one drop, to be fair, at the 3rd base, but that was it. So NaXin, hopefully he does. There we go. We do have the 5th base on the way, on location. Double drop trying to sneak its way in as well. No sensor tower to spot this.
Yeah, we'll just drop off a few Marines there, try to take out as many SCVs as he can, take a bit of the positioning out for Lemon as well so he can set up on this base, but at the same time, Lemon is starting to stabilize. He threw down 3 more CCs, so he's happy to just be the defender here and get himself back into this game economically with the orbitals.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there was no multi-prong aggression here. There was one drop slipping on in, but it was only that one drop that gets cleaned up here. NaXin didn't have, a follow-up push planned or anything like that. Looks like Lemon is stabilizing, and now he's going to be able to make full use of his bases.
That's right. At the same time, pretty nice trades there, taking out all of those Vikings. But at the same time, NaXin still just making medevacs. Hasn't really gone for a starport transition of his own. Meanwhile, on the side of Lemon, we do see him getting into those Ravens, getting that Corvid reactor upgrade for the Raven energy as well. And that means he's going to be starting to go into his late game composition.
Exactly. Tech-wise, he has a bit of a lead, but that doesn't mean there's no power here in what NaXin has. I say that as, he's going to be losing another one of his tanks here a little bit needlessly at the 5th base, rotating around towards the south instead, where tanks are already pre-sieged, ready and waiting.
Yeah, that's right. And having a look at the production of NaXin as well, he's been just on one factory for all this time as well. So, yeah, it does look like he was looking to be very aggressive with his units and has just slipped very slightly on the macro here.
Yeah, he has, but what he lacks in macro, he still makes up for in tenacity when it comes to these Doom Drops that he's been going for. He's trying to catch these Marines here in the middle of the map. It looks like he almost does, but Lemon is going to, barely escape, but not without losing a medevac.
Yeah, nicely done there. We will just have a quick pause for the lag there as well. But yeah, just having a look at the game state now, NaXin, it's going to be very hard for him to get positions on these core bases with the tank cover and the stability now that Lemon is establishing.
Yeah, it really will be difficult as we get back into this. Could you give us a countdown? I'll unpause. Teamwork.
Oh, yes.
Oh. Beautiful.
I didn't realize we were refs.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. As we are getting back into this, thankfully the latency has cleared up here as NaXin is waiting outside of the 3rd base of Lemon. Does have actually that, the air superiority here, maintaining that Viking lead. I spoke too soon!
Oh, why did you say that, lad? You killed his Vikings.
I'm sorry, NaXin, I'm sorry. Oh my god, but it doesn't matter. He's going in.
Yeah, he's going to have to go for a huge Doom Drop here because he's completely out of position with those Marines of Lemon heading straight into his base. He's going to be jumping right on top of these turrets. Bit of an interesting choice there. Not going to be able to save any of these medevacs here.
Oh my god, exactly. But you know what? He takes out all the turrets. He takes out the defensive tanks in the main base. At the same time, we do have a bit of a double drop moving out across that, but we have this time a couple of reinforcements. It looks like NaXin does have a standing army.
Yeah, it does have this standing army, but unfortunately the tank's a little bit out of position here. We can see how NaXin's been a little bit hurt by only being on one factory for all this game. Doesn't quite have the tank count that you would like to have at this stage of the game.
Yeah, exactly. We have another tank in the main base, but it goes down as it gets produced at the same time in the main of Lemon. More production is being taken down, but nothing else really. Not his economy. His economy isn't really under threat.
Yeah, some really nice multitasking coming out there from Lemon, managing to establish his defenses back at home. It even saves one of those orbitals at the same time, and he'll be able to just start expanding up to the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, NaXin still just on his 5 CCs, hasn't really started to look into going into a starport transition yet either.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about it before. He's down when it comes to the Corvid reactors upgrades. He's down when it comes to the Raven count as well. He's still stuck with a bit of a low tier army. He's been doing great when it comes to these like massive doom drops into the main time and time again. He has been getting some value there, but for a while now, he hasn't really been able to stop the economy, the income here of Lemon.
Yeah, I have to applaud NaXin definitely for his tactical play. He's gone for some fantastic tactics throughout this game. Has been making a lot of openings against Lemon, but at the same time, Lemon's been pretty good with getting his extra bases, starting to go into his Viking Raven as well. And this is something that we've seen a little bit behind for NaXin. We do see him now throwing down some extra CCs, throwing down his starport, so he does recognize that he's going to have to go to a bit of a later game to finish this one off.
Exactly, but this isn't going to help. He loses 2 medevacs full of units. What's scary about that is that a tank was involved in that as well. His tank count is still looking I was like, it's okay. It's 6 tanks as opposed to the 12 of Lemon. Thankfully the tanks of Lemon are spread out, so they're not all going to be involved here in the big fight.
Yeah, NaXin just getting across the map very slightly earlier will mean that Lemon will pull back here, recognizing as well with those scans that that 6th base of NaXin is quite delayed, and that does mean that he'll be confident just to be the defender in this situation, especially with his Raven count.
Yeah, exactly. He just has to defend, just like has to keep up with the army rotations. An anti-armor missile is going to fend NaXin off for the time being, but at least he has the map control. At least with this, he is looking to actually even double expand.
Yeah, that's right. He does have the double expand going down on location, which is something that I'm really liking him seeing, utilizing all this map control that he has. Something I would have liked to see a little bit earlier as well, but it's really nice that he's doing that now. At the same time, Lemon getting a pretty nice siege position here. Oh
god, exactly. Tanks behind and in front of the army, getting so many tank shots off on the tanks of NaXin, going to force him all the way back. And ooh, it looks like we may be getting a little bit of a okay, never mind, we're not pausing.
Yeah, looks like they're not going to go for the pause. They're going to go for this fight. Lemon with a huge amount of tanks here. Gets a fantastic concave here on the units. Does disable those front tanks of NaXin here, and that was a brutal fight there. I wish I could understand what they're saying. I hope everything's okay. I think NaXin might be a little bit unhappy with how that went down.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I know that NaXin, oh, as he does call the GG. Lemon does take that first game. I know that NaXin was I know he was having latency issues yesterday, if you remember. There were some issues, some ping issues there, and I do also recall that that today he actually did kind of lag out while trying to get into the lobby as well. Hope everything is okay. Everything's okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna open up Google Translate, see if I can work out what they're saying to each other. But yeah, at the same time, that was a game where he did have a lot of control over what was happening, and the ball was really in his court, but it looks like, yeah, there was just a little bit too much there in terms of the defensive prowess and the overall game plan for Lemon, just seeing the next step, and getting there a little bit earlier than NaXin.
Yeah, it did feel like NaXin was behind in a lot of aspects, and it was kind of his army control that was keeping him in that game. Which again, props to his control, props to how he was able to maneuver around the map. You're praising his tactics. But alas, there's only so much that can really do for you, especially on a map like Moondance.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure if I can understand what he's saying, but it sounds like what he's saying is when you asked for the pause, I lost all my Vikings. So
yeah.
Hopefully everything's okay there. But it does mean that we will be going into this next game now. And yeah, definitely want to praise Lemon once again for being the defender, which can be a little bit more difficult. Does take a lot of confidence to do that as well in TVT, and he was very effective with that.
Definitely. Yeah, just I was also using translate. And it's like I guess maybe a little bit upset about the timing of the pause specifically.
Yeah.
But you know, like at the end of the day, like if someone is experiencing latency, there's very little control we have about that. And I would like to give Lemon the benefit of the doubt that he was, you know, legitimately lagging and having some issues at the time. But yeah, until then though, we are getting ready for our next map, and the next map is going to be Waterfall.
Yeah, so this map, once again, is going to be a very short rush distance map, and that does leave players open for some very aggressive plays during the early game. This is a map that we have been seeing a lot of in-base Reapers and plays like that, and 2-on-1s as well, so it's a map that, in terms of the high-level meta, especially with the Korean players, we've been seeing them play some different builds on this map specifically than all the other maps, going for much more aggressive drop plays and things like that.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of that. Here. Oh boy, but yeah, we'll see how this turns out here. We'll see where the series goes. I'm just messaging the admin about what just happened.
Yeah, it looks like we might have just a little bit of a delay here as we sort that out as well. I can understand that it's probably a bit of a frustrating situation, so we'll just make sure we have that all sorted out before we jump into this next game. Ooh, so just having a look as well. I want to have a little look at how the bracket is shaping up for the Taiwan-Hong Kong region as well.
Yeah, I guess now as we wait for our players, it is a good opportunity for us to head on over to that bracket and have a look at how things have been progressing. That's in both Group A and Group B.
Yeah, so it looks like over on that mainstream at the moment, we have got Haas versus Rex going down, and looks like Rex actually up a game. Very interesting.
Yeah. Rex going up against Haas. I mean, again, we were talking about it earlier. We were very surprised that Haas lost the map to Lemon. Now losing map to Rex as well puts into question, you know, his state of play at the moment. But at the same time, we have also been praising Rex for being on a new team and also just leveling up in general in terms of skill.
Yeah, exactly. Rex just been a very strong player and on a very strong team as well. That can be something that really raises up your motivation, raises up your skill level as well with the practice partners that you have available to him. I know he's been, I think both of them have been doing some work in the team house in Korea.
Yeah. I think from what I am aware, I think Rex is in Korea, from my understanding.
Yes, I'm quite sure he's been in the foreigner team house. Yeah,
so he has been putting in a lot of work into improving as a player, you know, being a part of the GSL qualifiers as well, and that is really, or it's supposed to come to fruition here and now in DreamHack Atlanta. Hopefully it does, hopefully it is, hopefully it will, but only time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of these things with these regionals as well. It does give opportunities for the players that really are putting in the practice, putting in the hard work to be able to show, you know, what they've been doing for the last few months and where they're at. So it's always exciting to see a little bit of a changing of the guard, as much as definitely wishing luck to Haas, hoping that we see very strong games out of him as he is such an exciting player as well. It is definitely cool to see things being shaken up a little.
Definitely. You know, back in the day, it was all about Haas being the king of the region, but, you know, arguably that time has come and gone, and now other players are vying for that spot. As amazing as Rex is looking like right now, I do want to bring some emphasis and shine a light on Nice, because Nice is already in the playoff bracket. He hasn't dropped a single map so far, and I feel like he's basically the titan of the region nowadays. You know, can anyone bring him down?
Yeah, Nice has been in extremely good form here, kind of setting himself apart a little bit in this region. But at the same time, we do have, some very strong up-and-coming players challenging that. We have But Always and Gogo Joey as well, finishing off that Group A later on tonight. They will be vying for that last spot in that Group A to go onto the upper bracket semi-finals.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. We'll see who is going to make it there into those semifinals. yeah, a lot of great games are going to be over on the mainstream. As a reminder to everyone, we only have this TVT to cast. That is the only series that we have here for us on the B stream. Every other series will be over at ESL_SC2.
Yeah, it's alright there. It's been a dynamite TVT. We get to see the champion race.
You're like, look, Papi, it's the elimination match, okay? It's the only time Terran can win.
Chance. It's our last chance to see them before they leave.
I mean, to be fair, you know, Taiwan, Hong Kong is one of the smaller, or is one of the regions where there is less Terran representation. Like, obviously, we have our Terran players, don't get us wrong, but it is more dominated by Protoss a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And of course, whoever wins this game between Lemon and NaXin as well will be going on to face the winner of Haas vs Rex, and that's a pretty stiff challenge as well, I've got to say. They're both very strong players. It's a tough group.
Yeah, it is a very difficult group, a really difficult position to be in. I know we're in a really high tense, high stress situation as well, because this is the elimination match, because this is, you know, the last major DreamHack of the year. If you're competing in StarCraft and if this is your livelihood, or this is what you want your career to be, well then there's just, again, that much more on the line here, especially in this series. So yeah, I don't blame the players for taking certain things as hard as they are, because, you know, it's DreamHack, you know, it's big.
Yeah, of course. This is a pretty big opportunity for these players as well, that you can make your way through these regional groupings as well. So yeah, a lot on the line.
A lot on the line, and upsets are always possible as well. I don't know if you were awake this morning, Asher, but there was a surprising result.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that. In Latin America, yes. Special didn't he lost his series, man. He's not eliminated, but he's in the elimination match.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for the longest time in that region, you don't really expect Special to lose to anyone except Diego, except Kelazor. Like, it's pretty rare to see that. So definitely always glad to see things being shaken up a little bit. And congratulations to it was Eggs, wasn't it?
Yeah, Eggs. He came out of nowhere. He took down Special, and like, again, really unexpected, because Eggs is another one of those players who has been also on a hiatus, who hasn't been, you know, on the grind 100% of the time throughout the year. He has taken breaks, but sometimes breaks can be really beneficial. You know, they can be a great way to reset your mentality and take a step back from the game and have a different perspective on things. So yeah, Eggs just popping off like crazy. It's gonna hurt us a little bit because Eggs came out first in his group, and that means that Eric is gonna have to deal with a very upset Special. So the Duckling's gonna have to deal with that with an angry Juanito. Oh god.
Yeah, it does look like as well, Eggs being able to take out our Duckling as well. A little bit sad. So he is definitely up against it, but we believe in him. You know, the F in Eric stands for fear.
Exactly, man. Exactly. The F in Eric stands for fear. So I look forward to I guess tomorrow for the continuation of those groups, to see if Special can even make it out. I know Eric is looking at VODs hard and training hard to try and snipe Special, as he's fully aware that he will be coming for him. But yeah, that's just, again, a situation that no one expected, and it happens sometimes. You know, Special is the dominant force in his region. Bit of an upset. There was that last year, I believe, in DreamHack Winter, when Time lost to Cyan. And Time was not the champion of his own Chinese region either, and everyone was like, oh my god, like what is happening here? So yeah, these kings of their regions, their reigns don't last forever.
What is happening here? Protoss is happening.
You're like, yeah, exactly. You know, Terran, we're just losing all over the place. You know, like, what do you expect? What do you? Shaking my head. But
yeah. So I presume there's a bit of a dispute going down. That's why there's a bit of a delay here.
Oh yeah. it looks like we have an interesting proposition. Huh. I need to confirm this with the admin. NaXin is saying that potentially the players are willing to restart the game
From the fire?
from the pause.
Yeah. Oh,
Which
from
is-
the original pause.
From the original pause, which is
That's a long way back.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Hmm. Also, maybe he's talking about that pause, not that he wanted to pause again.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess I'm not sure if the players are actually allowed to call pauses themselves.
Yeah. It's. I have not heard. This is wild. I've not heard of this.
Bit of drama, a bit of controversy.
Yeah, I don't. I'm a little bit unheard of, a little bit unprecedented. I believe the admins are looking into this request.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be.
Yeah, if I understand correctly, I think what he's saying is when that original pause happened, he lost some Vikings because of that.
Yeah. It's so the interesting thing is that if Lemon agrees to it, so we're talking about a situation where the pause happened like 10 minutes ago, 10 minutes before the game even ended, maybe even 15, a while ago.
Yeah,
typically
probably halfway through that game.
literally halfway through that game. So because of that, like typically if an issue happens, you want to restart then and there, right? But because it's already the conclusion of the game, it's kind of weird. But what's also weird is that if both players agree to it, you know, like that's a bit.
Yeah, for sure. If he understands and he agrees, I'm not sure there's really any argument there to be had. But at the same time, it is a little curious that it wasn't really brought up until the end of the game.
Okay, well, I think we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we are going to we will have I hope a continuation to the series, and hopefully we can figure out what is going on.
We'll have some kind of exciting TVT action for you when we come back.
Yes. And welcome back. Welcome back to game number 2, as we are finally going to get our series underway.
Yeah, we are now heading into this game number 2 on Waterfall as this TVT continues. So we do have Lemon going into this 1-1-0 up, and here he is in the bottom left-hand corner, spawning as the Red Terran. It is the Taiwanese player for Mystery Gaming. This is Lemon.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Waterfall, we have the Taiwanese Terran player himself, representing Mystery Gaming. It is NaXin.
So both players getting a little bit of chance to catch a little bit of a breather, calm things down from that last game, head into this game with a fresh mentality. And it'll be interesting to see what they've got prepared for this map, because as I was referring to earlier, this is a map that we have seen a lot of stylistic play coming out, a lot of aggressive play as well from Terrans.
Yeah, exactly. And that may be able to favor NaXin a little bit more here. We were talking about how the way that he was playing things out, the way that he was kind of approaching not just this series, but many series, maybe doesn't have the most longevity. But because of that, maybe he could be favored on a smaller map.
Yeah, that's right. There are definitely a little bit more opportunities to end the game a little bit earlier, especially at that 2-base phase with some more aggressive attacks. You have the potential as well, if it does go to that 3-base phase with the third of the triangle there, there's that ledge all around the bottom here that it can be quite easy to set up tanks along.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are so many kind of different aspects of this map that can come into play if the game goes on that long, because it's so small. We can see some more aggressive styles, we can see some more all-in as well. It does happen from time to time.
Yeah, so far though, both players going for pretty standard builds, not seeing any fast 2 or 3 barracks plays at this point, so there won't be any Reaper rushing from in-base, won't be any 2-on-1s or anything like that. We are going to see NaXin just once again going for this Reaper reactor build that he went for in the last game.
Oh, yeah, he is going for the same opener, that same reactor. Meanwhile, Lemon is approaching this a little bit differently.
Yeah, it does look like Lemon gonna kind of take a little bit of the momentum from the last game where he was playing the defensive role, and once again assume the role of the defender. In that last game, just to remind you guys how the start of the game went, we did see him go for that 5 Reaper, actually 4 Hellion with a medevac, very aggressive play, and it looks like he's gonna shake things up a little bit on this map and go for a more defensive play.
Yeah, it does seem to be a little bit more defensive. Again, I appreciate that, this time we do have a little bit of more of a mix-up of how the players are kind of approaching this, right? We have reactored Marines coming out here, we have faster tank play as well, bearing in mind that we are delaying our CC by quite a bit here from the side of NaXin.
Yeah, this is going to be a 1-base all-in from NaXin here. This is a very aggressive setup that he's going for here. I wouldn't be too surprised to see maybe a medevac. A medevac. So going to be going for some very early tank drops. This is pretty aggressive approach to the matchup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's Waterfall. Now, let's go. We'll see how much damage this can get done. The other scary thing is that Lemon actually hasn't gone across the map. He didn't go for an SCV scout earlier. He didn't send his first Reaper across the map either, so he's playing in the dark right now, making a lot of assumptions. I guess because of this, he's also playing things out a little bit safer, like getting out the defensive cyclone, for example. But he's in the dark. He doesn't know what is going to be coming his way.
Yeah, going for a fast Banshee and a fast Cyclone here actually bodes really well for him going up against this build. He's going for just a generally kind of defensive build that should deal pretty well with everything, which I do like here, considering that he hasn't done much in the way of scouting. So it's going to be up to NaXin to find a good position for this tank.
Oh god. Yeah, I mean, the tank so far, decent position. He's able to get a decent shot off for the time being. Oh god, as he does try to reposition, and I believe Lemon did siege. Oh no, actually, Lemon doesn't have vision.
Yeah, Lemon doesn't have the vision there, so as long as the focus fire here from NaXin is good, he is going to be able to take down this tank, and this does give him a lot of momentum. When you are going for these all-in builds with the tank pushes, the first fight between the first few tanks can be very important here, and even taking down the Banshee here, actually getting right on top of the base here for Lemon, and GG is called right away.
Wow, just like that, the one base all in again catches Lemon a little bit too off guard, maybe mismicroing a couple of units here and there. We saw initially 2 tank volleys went off for free on that one tank on the low ground at the natural, and things very quickly snowballed from there.
Yeah, this is a spicy series that we've got on our hands here, because that was a very aggressive build. That is, I'm going to be honest, I don't usually see those kind of builds in pro games. I don't think I've actually seen that in a pro game before. That's something that you normally catch on ladder, but you can see that if you catch your opponent off guard, if you take a good fight with that first little tank trade, things can spiral so quickly, and Lemon, realizing that there's no way for him to re-establish his natural there, just calls GG, and just like that, a very quick win for NaXin.
Oh, exactly. And with that, NaXin is able to take this all the way to the ace match. You know, maybe again, finding his footing here in the early game. Maybe he now is a little bit more aware of his strengths and maybe of his weaknesses, and is looking to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely playing to his strengths. They're going for very aggressive, quick play. They're catching Lemon off a little bit off guard here. So I do think coming into this next game, Lemon's going to be wanting to be a little bit more careful with his scouting, or, you know, both players could just throw caution to the wind. Maybe go for a proxy rack, something like that.
Yo, proxy racks versus proxy racks. Let's go, papi. Let's go.
Wait, we're going to have the next 2 games are going to take longer than the break between the first 2 games.
I know, right? Oh my god, we'll see. I mean, we are going to be on a larger map, like Tropical Sacrifice. That is going to be the map of choice here, the ace match. But just because it's large doesn't mean that we have to see a longer game. You know, that also means that there are so many more spots here to try and sneak out a proxy.
Right, if the map's large and it looks like it's going to be a longer game, but he knows that I think it's going to be a longer game, then I can make it a shorter game.
The mind games, papi. The mind games. Let's go. Alright, so you can hear the beeps. We are going to be loading into the final game of our series here. Oh boy. And again, this is the dichotomy of TVT. Could be in for a long one or a very short one.
That's right, and here we are, starting off in the top right hand corner of the map with this series tied up 1-1. Is he going to be able to progress further into this tournament? It is the Red Terran playing for Mystery Gaming, representing Taiwan. It is Lemon.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice, we have the Taiwanese Terran player himself representing Mystery Gaming. It is NaXin.
And it seems like the bases, they are in the bases. We are making our Raxes at home. I have to say I'm very slightly disappointed.
Actually, the bases are indeed bases. Let's go. Oh my god. Likewise, I would have loved to have seen one of these players go wild, pull a Maru in the ace match in the most important game of the series. Just send it, mate. Just send it. Alas, that is not the case. At least for now, standard openers.
Yeah, that's right. As you're kind of referring to there, both of these players here, they know that their tournament lives are on the line here, not wanting to throw away anything a little bit too riskily. They are going to want to show, you know, they're going to want to show all their potential, everything they've got here in this last game. Don't want to just throw everything away on just a small little micro mistake going for an aggressive build. So I'm happy to see these players giving themselves the best chance here.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it as well, right? Taking this as seriously as they can. I mean, it all comes down to this final game. Where will this take us? Well, we'll see, as so far we did have both players go for a double gas opener, so they are going to be delaying their CC, but for how much longer? Okay, thankfully, Lemon has pulled out of gas this time. He didn't commit.
Yeah, the question here is, will NaXin be going for one of those Bombay Solons here? It doesn't look like it. Looks like he's just going to be making a few Reapers here. Both players going for mirrored openings so far, looking to be a little bit more defensive. Also skipping out on that scouting, so they were to send these Reapers around just to check for any proxies close by. But apart from that, we are going to see a little bit more of a passive start to this one.
Yeah, and I'm curious. Okay, it looks like NaXin is going to go for a CC as well. I did notice that he did leave one additional SCV in the gas, so he does have a little bit more gas mining compared to his opponents. So I assume maybe that would lead towards a faster starport, but no, he does indeed. He does intend to expand.
Yeah, nice little delay here though. Lemon just getting the first shot on that Reaper will be able to delay the CC by quite a bit. That's a nice little advantage here. And these early game exchanges, the earlier that you can get these things going down, the more it can pay off. But looks like that Reaper actually going to go down here for Lemon.
Yeah, Reaper does get focused down in the end, so already going to be losing out on the overall Reaper count, so Lemon's going to be forced to stay at home and help and try and defend his own CC. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, okay, we do have just a standard tech lab. We have a Cyclone on the way. NaXin also playing it safe, also not really scouting his opponent.
Add-on.
Yeah, try. NaXin just going for the fast Cyclones. Wouldn't be surprised to see him make a second Cyclone here as well, just to get himself a little bit of map control. And this does open up a few options for you. Does open up the option to go for a bit of a Reaper dive, potentially even go for a Banshee and send that one in. But it looks like for the moment, just going to be pumping out those Marines, getting that base up and established.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting that Marine count ever so higher here, at least from our Blue Terran. We're going to be seeing a bit of an add-on swap as well. We have seen in the first game that we saw a Banshee opener, or Banshee first, sorry, from NaXin. We'll see if he does lean towards that again, or something a little bit more standard.
Yeah, it looks like just going to be going for that standard Raven play that we've been seeing for so many years now in the TVT. Very standard, comfortable way to get into this game. Should be seeing a tank going up pretty soon here as well, so... Oh, we got time to breathe.
Oh god, this whole series has been very tense, but now we can breathe. Yes. We can breathe a little bit here, as both players are just kind of getting everything underway, just getting their own maps or their own sides of the map under control here. Yeah, I appreciate it, not just for us, but for the players as well. You know.
Yeah, it does look like just going to poke out, get a little bit of vision here. Rather interestingly here from NaXin, though, going for a very early fourth gas here. So I wonder if we're going to be seeing maybe mech or a 2-base all-in or something like that.
I'm curious. Please no mech, papi, please. don't do it, NaXin, don't do it. Oh god, but we already see a little bit of a divergence. We do see already switching a reactor onto that starport, so Viking production has already commenced after only getting a single Raven, by the way. Not opting to go for 2 or even 3.
Yeah, he does have the potential here to go for a little bit of an old school tank Viking push here, possibly even throwing down a couple extra racks before he goes for his 4th base. It looks like he's cutting SCVs quite aggressively just to keep these Vikings pumping out as fast as possible, and he will have a nice timing here where he gets that air control lead.
Yeah, exactly. It feels almost like a less all-in version of like Juanito's double starport build in TVT.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
I kind of like it. It is less committed. It does mean that you can expand or it's a transition easier behind it, as NaXin is going to be finding his way up this ramp.
Yeah, we do have that stim on the way a little bit earlier for NaXin as well, but it looks like Lemon doing a good job just meeting this out on the map. Doesn't want to let these tanks get sieged up too close to his base at all.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But already, NaXin is going to be able to get the first shots off here on the army. Thanks to the high ground vision, the tank is also going to go down.
Yeah, just disabling that tank. Meanwhile, Lemon, very nice micro there, does get the disable back on the opposing tank and is able to trade 1 for 1. Considering he got a little bit out position there, that's quite nice for him.
Yeah, very impressive play here by Lemon overall. Again, with the power of that Cyclone, able to just push away the Raven of NaXin. But with that Viking control, that Viking superiority, again, I love it. Lemon, he recognizes this, he lands the Vikings.
Yeah, just ceding control of the skies there. He's going to look to send these Ravens around. Does have the potential here, if he can keep these Ravens hidden, to go in for a disable on these tanks and just jump on it. It looks like that's exactly what he's going to be doing.
Wow, we do see this around. We do see the collapse on the army, and just like that, NaXin is going to lose everything.
Wow, everything going down. We can see the landed Vikings putting in so much DPS there for Lemon. And suddenly, despite the opening of NaXin giving him that earlier Viking count, Lemon is the one that has the air control now.
Exactly, and because of that opener from NaXin, like, he had to deal that much more damage. He cut his own worker count. He wasn't necessarily looking ahead. Lemon already has a 3rd base on location.
Yeah, we do see both Ravens going down for Lemon here, but he is going to be able to take down that last Viking here of NaXin, and just baiting that little bit of a stim forward as well. So with this 3rd on location and the 3rd for NaXin only not even halfway done here, he does find himself with a really nice lead here.
Yeah, exactly. Very nice lead, maintaining his tank count as well. Is slightly behind when it comes to the tanks, but he's now ahead when it comes to the Vikings. He's ahead when it comes to the Marines. Has the workers, has the bases.
Yeah, nice little supply lead here for Lemon. It does look like NaXin, he's going to recognize that as well, just going to sit back and be a little bit more defensive with these tanks, get a little bit of vision out on that map with the Marines as well. But meanwhile for Lemon, we see him going straight into medevacs, and he does have the potential here if he wants to set up a bit of a double prong attack, if he wants to send a few medevacs of Marines around just to clean up a bit of map vision and then set up his own tank Viking push. He does have that opportunity later on.
Really does. I also love that Lemon is just like throwing caution to the wind, and he's even taking a fourth on location as well. Like, arguably a little bit greedy here, but just now soon going to be ahead by 2 bases. It's insane what he's getting away with. NaXin doesn't want to take this line down though. He wants to be active on the map. He is going to push out once again.
Yeah, I really like this 4th base from Lemon. A little bit of a sneaky 4th base here. Not usually the 4th that you take in TVT, so that will go undetected for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, NaXin is still in the dark when it comes to the 4th base. I'm sure he was hoping to try and force a cancel or denial if there was one on the way. Is going to be forced to back off, and again, unaware of the bases that were being taken.
Yeah, it's just some beautiful unit positioning from Lemon. Just sets up those tanks and Vikings, recognizes that the position is held by the tanks, and immediately sends these medevacs around just to threaten any reinforcements, and even threaten a bit of a counterattack for NaXin, and that does mean that he has to go back home with these units.
Yeah, he will have to go back home. At least he is establishing this 3rd base here. Finally, the gases are on the way as well. Feels good, man. Again, just doesn't know that he's still behind in other aspects. He also doesn't have any sensor towers, so he doesn't have eyes on the fact that there's a bit of a double drop headed his way.
Yeah, and this is something that Lemon's been doing in the last game as well, just getting a lot of that map control with this double drop. It's something that we see done really well by some of the top Korean Terrans as well. Just a pretty low commitment way to be out on the map.
Yeah, exactly. Still low commitment, but, you know, it can actually get a little bit out of control at times. We saw even in game 1 where it was just one single double drop actually just obliterated a mineral line of NaXin's 3rd base and even killed a CC.
Yeah, definitely. And at the same time, we do see that Lemon is setting up his defenses here at that 4th base, establishing the double gas, going into his extra starports already as well. So once again, we see him very far ahead on his tech transitions here.
Yeah, his economy, his tech as well, maintaining his supply lead. NaXin going to be a little bit more on the back foot. Finally, we do see him getting into medevac production. He was kind of stuck on Vikings earlier because he had to catch up after losing that lead. And now that he has medevac story, he can try and make use of what he's known for, you know, the multi-pronged aggression, the mass drop play. But it's going to be a little bit harder to pull it off just because of how many sensor towers Lemon has.
Yeah, Lemon does have a lot of control over this map. I really like the way that he's positioning these medevacs and Marines on the side that he doesn't have the sensor tower vision as well. That does allow him to have so much control over the entire map. And if there's any weakness here from NaXin, any lack of tanks, he's going to be able to jump on top of that. And yeah, it does look like he might have a little bit of an opening here.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Gonna send one spotted Marine first to recognize what's here. Does see only a single tank scans, and he should see, yeah, the rest of the army not too far away. If it does move out, then that is the signal for Lemon to move in.
Yeah, you can see the way that just this Marine force here for Lemon basically doing the same thing that a full army would do, keeping this force of NaXin completely pinned back, and with those scans as well, just keeping an eye on exactly what the movements of NaXin are.
Yeah, exactly. Just confirm that the main army is headed over towards the northern portion of the map. The Vikings stay back to try and catch a drop though, so Lemon has to be careful with whether or not he wants to just push in towards the 3rd or doom drop into the main base. At the same time, NaXin, he's moving out with his tanks, trying to shark around, trying to find a good enough position. Finally does scan that 4th base.
You can see as well with the positioning of these Marines of Lemon, he does completely cordon off that side of the map, but meanwhile we see him jumping straight in on this base and right on top of these SCVs.
Oh my god, man, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here as every single worker is going to go down, and he targets down the CC!
Oh, the CC going down, and that is devastating because that 4th base of NaXin that he's been so far behind on only just finished, and now it has to be used as the 3rd.
Ay, not like this, puppy, not like this. There we go, it's replacing that 3rd base. NaXin's still perpetually down when it comes to the bases, down when it comes to the workers, but he's actually up in army supplies, so he's almost being forced, not quite all in, but he has to deal damage here, and he has the potential to deal damage.
Yeah, I think NaXin realizing that he has to shove, he has to try to find an opening here, but the positioning of Lemon is so good. This is a map where it can be really easy, especially with this third 2 defend. And yeah, NaXin trying to jump in here, but he doesn't have the Ravens that he needs to get the tanks disabled.
Yeah, exactly, he doesn't. Meanwhile, because of the high ground, just like that, the tank count of NaXin is plummeting.
Yeah, we see some pretty rough exchanges there, and to be honest, even exchanges is not what NaXin wants here. He just wants to have a decisive blow with these units, get some damage, get himself back in this game. But meanwhile, it does look like he's going to be moving on this base, which is actually the 5th of Lemon.
Yeah, to be fair, Lemon is slow to respond, and it looks like, yeah, he just gives up to this position. He knows that he just can't, he wasn't able to keep up with this rotation. CC could go down, but as you just brought up, it doesn't really matter. Lemon is still up at base. This is his second base that he's up.
Yeah, Lemon's so far ahead of this stage, both in tech and economy. You can see he has a huge air advantage here. He has a really nice tank advantage as well. And I just love the way that he's constantly using these medevac marine forces to keep NaXin out of position.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, NaXin did get an eye on the double drop that was headed out across the map, but he chooses to ignore it for the time being. The reinforcements are going to have to do whatever they can. The planetary is going to go down. But again, NaXin needs more than this.
Yeah, NaXin is going to reposition these tanks. He does have the option to try to feint an attack to the left to jump into the right, but looks like he's just going to take this damage. I'm not sure if he's actually aware of the original 4th of Lemon.
I mean, he was able to get a scan of it earlier, so he is a little bit aware. Meanwhile, he's stimming up this ramp. Tank's a little bit late to siege for Lemon.
Yeah, nice move here by NaXin. Actually does take out quite a few of those tanks, takes out a lot of the Vikings as well. So nicely done there, but it looks like the tanks are in range for Lemon. He's going to be taking out one of NaXin's tanks there, even taking out a second. So NaXin just down to 3 tanks in this frontal force.
Afraid to look at the units tab here, but yeah, he's he's not working with much at all. It was a pretty good trade though, all things considered. He's gonna need to try and find another angle like that again as he tries to find a way up this ramp. Meanwhile, Lemon retaking his 5th and his 6th at the same time. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of deja vu from that Moondance game as we see Lemon doubling the tanks of NaXin, throwing down all sorts of extra bases, getting his upgrades, getting his Ravens, and just feeling very comfortable being the defender in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. We can see here, even because of that air superiority, we have the Ravens to just disable any forward tanks here for NaXin. He can't really accomplish much at all. He does have a decent medevac count, so there's a world where maybe he can go for a Doom drop. Maybe he can outposition his opponent that way. But we were talking about it earlier, like Lemon just has so much map control.
Yeah, look at these sensor towers. There's just so much map coverage. It's one of the features of this map as well. And a little bit of an unfortunate forward siege. Going to be losing every tank there.
Every tank going down. NaXin forced back once again. This angle just isn't working. Pushing up any one of these ramps is not the way to go. NaXin finally recognizes that, but GG